Hi and welcome to my maths class. Today we're going to discuss Venn diagrams. Now, you have previously done Venn diagrams. It was done in grade 10 in detail. Now the work is very similar. The only difference is that instead of one overlap, we now have three. So you have three circles that are overlapping each other. Now let us take the following example. They say there are 300 learners. 267 play soccer, 37 play all three sports, 150 play cricket, 175 play netball. So we know we have three circles. Okay, so what do we have? We have a soccer, we have a netball, and we have a cricket. Then they tell us 167 play soccer and netball, 127 play soccer and cricket. Now netball cannot be played alone. Now when you're starting with this, the safest place to start in is always the center. Now what is the center? The center would be where all three overlap, which means that in the center I would have had a 37, because it says 37 play all three sport, which means now I am done with that. You should try and work out of the circle. So like you see, I'm starting at the 37, then I'm working out. So that's the whole idea. You must try and work out away from the center. The next thing would be where they are overlapping. Now this is where pupils start making the mistake. Remember to subtract. What do I mean when I say subtract? You see, if I am telling you that 167 learners play soccer and netball, 167 is going to be this entire area that I've colored in as yellow. Now if you already got 37, then at this place you only need 130. So be careful. Most of the time, in this place where I just wrote 130, I get 167 because you forgot that I've already got 37 in that area. Okay, now let's take the next one. Now they tell us 127 play soccer and cricket. So that means I'm talking of this entire area here. Now if I've already got 37, then that would leave me with 90. So remember the important part. Subtract. That is the trick. So he said 127 minus the existing 37 gave me 90. Then they tell you netball cannot be played alone. That means netball has to be played with something. So this entire yellow would be the entire netball, which in total is 175. Now in total it's 175. So what does that mean? That means I have to take 175. I need to subtract the 130 that's already there. I need to subtract the 37 that's already there, which will give me 8. So in this block I have 8. I know that because I also know that they clearly said netball cannot be played alone, which means it has to be played with a group. Now you've got the netball. You've totally completed the netball. Now let's go to soccer. The entire soccer is going to be this entire circle, which now means this entire circle must equal to 267. Okay, so what am I going to do? I'm going to say the entire amount of players is 267. I'm going to subtract 130 because I've already counted them at this level. Then I'm going to subtract 37 because I've counted it in the center. And I'm going to subtract 90, which gives me 10. Which means there is only 10 players that are playing only soccer and no other sport. Now you are done with the soccer. Now how do we do the cricket? If you look, this circle is cricket. So this entire circle must equal to the amount of cricket players. And how many cricket players we have? 150. Now from the 150, we already take out 90 because The 90 was taken out when they were linking with soccer. We already take out the 37 and we take out the 8, which will give us 15. So the amount of players that are playing cricket alone is 15. But now you must be careful. The first mistake pupils do is they do not subtract. And the second mistake is that we forget to total. Let us look at what we got. Is the 10 for the soccer, the 130 for the soccer and the netball. Then I've got the 37 where they are all doing. I've got the 90. I've got the 8. And I've got the 15. If you total that, that is equal to 290. But look at what they had said. They said there are 300 learners. So if there are 300 learners, then that means there are 10 children that are not doing any sport. So don't forget to total. What you've done is just sorted out the Venn diagram. So you have answered only question 1. Now they say calculate the probability of those that are playing all 3 sports. Now if I look at all 3 sports, then all 3 sports is where they are together. So the probability is, remember, the favorable over the total. This is now a grade 10 equation. Favorable over the total. Now how much was the total? The total was 300. Be careful. Many times you just get a 37. That's not acceptable. That's 0. That's no answer. That's incorrect. So when they're talking of probability, be careful and put the total that it's over, the final total. Now the next question is, they play soccer and netball. Now do you remember when we had done and, it meant only the overlap. So we had discussed this in grade 10 where we had said the or means everything, but the and means only where they overlap. Now the and for soccer and netball would be this entire overlap. But then they have a bit of a restriction. They say, but not cricket. So if you look back here, they are now telling us, listen, soccer and netball would have been 167. Okay, so if I say soccer and netball, but not cricket. Now look how I put the cricket. Can you see? I put it with a little cuppy. So it would mean now I got my 167, which is the soccer and the netball. I'm going to subtract the 37 because that would include my cricket. If you look at the blue that I've shaded in here, cricket is part of it, but they said and not cricket. So the total is 130. That is not my probability. Remember, that is simply the amount. The probability will still be 130 over 300. Now, what if they said they wanted S or N, so soccer or netball, but not C. So we have soccer or netball and not C. Now, if you look, soccer and netball, this would be the entire soccer. And when I say or, then it means the entire of netball. So when I say or, I'm taking the entire circles. But then I said not cricket. So not cricket means I take out anything that's touching cricket. So I'm going to take out the blue. So not cricket means I'm not going to consider anything in the blue. So what do I have now? I have 130 plus I have the 10. If there was a number in n, I would have also taken that. So the n of the element is going to equal to 130 plus 10, which is equal to 140. What is the probability? The probability would be 140 over 300. So watch out for your ors and your ands. Let's go back to the question and see. What is the probability of not playing any sports? Okay, now, if you look at the drawing, what is colored in is all the sports. So what is not the sports? The 10. So we have the probability would be 10 over 300 because only 10 are not playing sports. Then it is saying playing only cricket. Now only is a very important word because you see when I'm taking cricket, the entire circle of cricket I'm shading in. But when I say only, then it means any overlap must be eliminated, which means the 90 is out, the 37 is out, the 8 is out. So the only thing that's left is 15. So we have 15 over 300. Read your questions. Be careful because and or are very, very common mistakes. Okay, let us look at one more example. This one here is also a 3 circle, but let's see why is it different. You gave 80 people 3 different kinds of sweets. Already we know, hey, I've got 3 circles. Got 1 circle, I've got 2 circles, and I've got 3 circles. Okay, so you gave 80 people 3 different kinds of sweet. Red, blue, and green. Right, 40 people like red, 35 liked blue, 40 liked green, 21 liked red and green, 18 liked blue and green, 68 liked at least one sweet, 7 liked them all. Now, I told you when you're starting, start with the inside. So the one way is all would be your perfect center. So if I say 7 liked all, then that means I'm putting a 7 right here in the center. Now, let us look for red and green because remember I told you we're going to try and move out. Now, can we find red and green? They tell us 40 people like red. Okay, let's go on. 21 liked red and green. 21 liked red and green. So under red and green, I'm going to put how much. Be careful. I told you the most common mistakes is the subtract and at the end the total. So it's so easy to go and do this. Chips, you're done. It's so easy to make that mistake. What you should have done was you should have said, okay, red and green is 21. So this entire space is 21. Now if you've already got 7, then I can't put 21 here. I need to put 14. Because 7 plus 14 is 21 and that is the total that I want. I want 21. Now let's look at the next one. Then it says I'm now looking for blue and green. Blue and green. So we have 18 like blue and green. Now be careful, you already have the 7. To make it 18, you only need 11. Then it tells you, now you've done red and green, you've done blue and green, now you need to look for red and blue. Now read nicely. They give me 40 red, they give me 35 blue, 40 green. Then we've done the 21 red and green, we've done the 18 blue and red. Then they say 68 likes at least one sweet. But they don't discuss red and blue. Now when they are not discussing it, they are intentionally avoiding it. So the third thing you need to learn is put an X. Put an X in the place that you can't figure out. Put an X where you are unsure and you don't know. So an X will represent whatever number is between red and blue. Now they tell us, now we can go further out. Now we're going to the final circle. Now they tell us that 40 like red. So if I'm taking the red and I'm highlighting it, 40 like red. Now I can't go and put 40 there. That would be absolutely incorrect. I can't do that. That would be absolutely incorrect because you need to remember I must subtract. Now what I can say is the entire red will equal to 40. So if I've got that the entire red is going to equal to 40, then I know that to get this specific point, I need to say 40 minus my x minus my 14 minus my 7, which will equal to 40 minus 14 minus 7 is 19 minus x. So, what is the value of this specific one? The value of this specific one is now 19 minus x, because remember the entire red must equal to 40. Now you're going to do the same thing with the blue. They say that blue should equal to 35. So if I want the remainder, I would say 35 minus x minus 7 minus 11, which is equal to 17 minus x. Then what would my green equal to? Doing the same thing, they tell us that green, 40 like green. So I'm going to have 40 minus. Now remember I'm working in the green circle. Minus 14 minus 7 minus 11. And since there is no x in that green, can you see? There's no x here. So it's quite easy to solve what is the remainder. And the remainder is 8. Now that you can just put in 8. Then they further say that 68 like at least one sweet. We've got a total of 80. If only 68 are in the red, blue and green, then what you need to remember is your total. You see, the total is important. You know your total is equal to 80. They're telling you that the sweets that was liked is only equal to 68. So what about the people that don't like sweets? That would be 12. So outside you have to put a 12. Now when you have this and they say determine the probability that a person likes red and blue, remember red and blue, which means they're talking of this. But then they go further to say but not green. So now they're taking out the 7. So what they are asking you to do is they're asking you to solve for x. When you look at this, you need to know that if I take my entire sample space, so I take everything that's in my sample space, everything that's in the block, it will equal to the total of where I started. So you started with 80. Okay, so if we add everything in the sample space, we know we must get it equal to 80. So we have the first one is 19 minus x. Then we have plus x plus 14 plus 7. We have plus 17 minus x. I am taking every value that is in this sample space. Even the one that is out of the circles I have to consider because my total of my sample space includes all of it. Now let us total. We have minus x plus 88 is equal to 80. If I want to solve for x, I got x is equal to 8. Now, what is the question? The question says, determine the probability. Remember, finding the value of x is not answering the question. What is the probability that a person likes red and blue but not green? So we are talking of red and blue. Now you know red and blue is going to equal to 8 because x is equal to 8. So red and blue is going to equal to 8 plus 7, which is 15. But then they say, listen, we don't want the green. We don't want green and not green, which would mean now I am only taking this part. I'm basically eliminating the part where green is involved, which would mean it's equal to 8. What is the probability? The probability is 8 over our total, which is 80. So don't forget, probability and the number is two different things. For probability, you must have a denominator. Thank you for watching.